Greetings, Fright Nights. I'm Count Jackula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And we just saw Harbinger Down.
Yeah, we did.
A movie that was made by a bunch of special effects people because they wanted to do a practical effects film.
And that homaged Alien in the Thing. Was basically the idea. And they Kickstarted it. And the Kickstarter got funded and they went and made the movie. Basically, the Kickstarter got funded because everyone got to see... This is the same effects team that worked on the Thing prequel. And they made the effects that we never got to see because they painted over it with CGI in the final movie. And they made this really cool reel showing all the effects as it originally was intended. And they all looked really awesome and really cool, really creative. And you can only imagine what seeing that on the big screen would have been like. So when they decided to do a Kickstarter for their own project, which was going to feature similar effects, but not necessarily the same for a new monster, that sounded pretty awesome to me. I supported the Kickstarter campaign. I sent it out to people. I'm like, yeah, this is fucking great. We got to do this. About the movie.
Harbinger Down syndrome.
It's... Okay, the effects are good.
Tell me like a Hellcat.
When you can see them. And when they're not being overshadowed by really bad CG effects combined with them.
Yeah.
You can tell they were trying to do it right, but because what they were trying to do with that was like enhance the practical effects with something that CG can do that the practical can't do. But the CG part was so bad, it kind of takes away from the practical part.
Yeah, this is not an entirely practical effects movie. Or if it is, they somehow managed to make practical effects look like CGI, which would be a new low.
And on top of it, it has a problem where because everything is one color palette, everything is just blue, including the creature, the snow, and essentially the ship itself.
Everything. It's
really hard to see the monsters for most of it, even when you're supposed to see them.
Yeah.
There are times where they're obviously supposed to be caked in shadow and you're not supposed to be much of it, but most of the monsters, when they're actually on screen, you spend half the time trying to focus on, okay, what am I looking at before it cuts to something else and you've lost it and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a movie with a really good monster that didn't really have any of the other filmmaking stuff.
And that's the other problem. It's
shot like shit, it's written like shit, and with the exception of Lance Henriksen, it's acted like shit.
Every actor in this movie is really, really, really forced.
Yeah, they have the type of character that I hate seeing in these movies, which is, hi, I'm the pretty young female scientist who's going to be your main character. And the minute you see that, you're always like, oh God, oh no.
Which, funny enough, knowing that this is from the people who did the effects for the Thing prequel, you'd think they wouldn't retread that same plot point from the Thing prequel.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, in the Thing prequel, the actress in that role was way better and sold it way better than this. And the Thing prequel is not that good.
Yeah.
But I would dare say it is better shot than this.
Yeah, if you want the story of Harbinger Down, take a thing and you put it on a boat, bam, Harbinger Down. That's
so it's Leviathan.
It's the Thing meets Leviathan.
Yes, one of the most notorious and probably the best Thing knockoff.
Oh yeah. It was the best of the Thing knockoffs. It was at least fun.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is a lot of the people who worked on Harbinger Down worked on Leviathan.
Yeah, because this entire crew, the producer, the writer, the director, who I believe are the same person, as well as the rest of the crew. I don't know about the cinematographer, but based on the way it was shot, I'm going to assume as much because the cinematographer is not very good for this movie.
So bad.
But like the cinematography was not very good. I mean, the cinematographer could be good, but they were given terrible choices to do. Who knows? But this movie fails on everything except for the effects and then manages to screw those up.
Yeah.
But like all those people used to work for Stan Winston. You know, they used to work for Stan Winston before they started their own company, which is the one where they did the Thing stuff, and they did effects for things like they did that original Green Goblin like animatronic mask before they switched to the helmet. They did a lot of really cool effects. And in this movie there's some really cool effects. But that's not enough.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough at all. if it wasn't enough for AVP and AVP 2, it's not enough for this.
Which
movie.
I believe they also worked on.
Yes.
The producer of this movie, for example, he was the guy in the Pumpkinhead outfit. He was the Predator. He was the alien in Alien 3. He's very, very, experienced in the effects thing and as being monsters
being
and stuff
a guy
like
in a
that.
suit.
As a producer, I don't know if he's cut out for that job after seeing this movie. The director on this did creature effects for things like Tremors. In fact, it said he was a creature designer, so I'm guessing he contributed to the design of the Graboids.
Yeah, and you can see some of that in the monster
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is pretty fucking awesome. But I don't think he's a really good writer. No. Nor do I think he's a really good director, because all the staging in this movie and the acting is so poorly thought out.
This is the biggest disappointment since Crawler died.
Yeah, which I would still say is a worse movie. But this is a strong
worse
contender.
Than this, but this is not.
This movie.
Oh god.
They at least lit it.
Yes.
This movie.
They lit it. I could tell it was on a boat.
Yes.
They had establishing shots.
For the most part, there are times where I could tell where people were.
Yeah.
There were other scenes that were shot where there's a lot of handheld in this movie, but it's not like Crawl or Die where it was like this. But there's a lot of like steady cam, but it's not. It doesn't seem to serve a purpose.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, the camera should move here. Why?
I'm guessing to make it feel like it was on a boat, but you really never really felt right.
No, it doesn't. It didn't feel right at all.
Like Leviathan felt more like it was on a...
Well, for Leviathan felt like it was in an underwater lab.
Exactly.
And when they're on they were actually on a boat when they were on a boat in that movie, but... Yeah, this one, it feels like they're on a set.
Yeah, and all the actors just... Not only are the lines they given terrible, but you can see the difference in all of them between Lance Henriksen and the rest of the cast, because Lance Henriksen can sell the terrible lines no matter how awful they are.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else just falls so flat, and you want them to stop talking and start dying fast.
Yeah, almost immediately. The movie starts out with this really bad, like CG sequence.
Yeah,
I assume it's CG. It looked like CG. It looked like bad CG.
What it looked to me like it was a model with a lot of CG caked onto it, but I don't know for sure if that's what it was.
Yeah, me neither. That's what it looked like though. And it's just like, oh hey, like Russian pod falls to the North Pole or Alaska or something. 25 years later, they go out and find it and prepare. You need to play bingo with this game, which is find every plot point that came from another movie that you've seen.
And funny enough, a lot of the movies that they're taking plot points from, these people worked on.
Because they're like, oh hey, evil corporate guy gonna try to aliens, okay,
which
great.
These guys worked on, or at least some of the people on the production did. I was looking it up. Hey, look, we're on a boat and it's a monster that's a ripoff of The Thing on a boat. Okay, let's do Leviathan.
All right, do The Thing while we're at it, just for good measure.
Absolutely.
And
it's such a disappointment because I don't know what it would have saved this movie, but like, even if it was with the shitty script, just shot better and the acting was either less serious and more fun.
Yeah, that would have helped.
Or if the acting was just better actors that could sell the lines.
Yeah. Well, bad acting, bad writing too. Like, you could tell it was both.
But even that, like, a better script would also be helpful. There's so much bad with this movie, and it's hard to get into any details because it's just a huge amalgamation of bad with some shining gems throughout. Like Lance Henriksen, when he's on screen, you're like, oh, hey, look, that's what screen presence looks like. Oh man, cool. It's cool to see him. And when the creature is on screen and you can see it, it's like, oh man, that's a really cool design.
Yeah, you're like, that could be totally have been like another version of The Thing.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
There was like a monster that that sucked up someone's body and then used the head as almost like a siren decoy.
Yeah.
And then when it moved its head, it's got like this huge mouth on top, and you're like, oh man, that's pretty cool. And it's got like this praying mantis arm.
Yeah, and it's like a big animatronic puppet person in a suit thing. It looks really good.
But one of the problems they keep doing,
they lit it like shit.
Yeah, you can't tell what you're looking at, it's not even lit in a dramatic way. Like you can't see much of Alien in the in the first Alien or in Aliens, but they're lit in a way that makes it dramatic, that makes it tense, and it makes the monsters look more intimidating. So also with the way the camera is set up in all those movies. And also when they're showing you little parts of it as opposed to the whole thing, it's just enough to get you're like, oh my god, what am I looking at? Like when you see the tail come down in Ridley Scott's Alien, and on the other hand, it also kind of wants to be the Thing, which shows it to you front and center.
Yeah. Nice, long, lingering shots of like the Thing doing stuff.
And I felt like it should have went that route because that seems like more what it wanted to do than Alien. Because
no, they like speed up the film. They quick cut. You're like, why?
They cake random CG in places that digital zooms that feel so bad,
so forced. And you're like, did you just do that to crop out something that was in the frame at that moment?
I almost guarantee it was probably something like that. The other thing, and this is something I noticed when we started getting towards the finale, there's a part where the alien takes over basically the whole boat and comes up like this giant monster, almost like Dead Space is what it reminded me of. And I was noticing that, like, even though it is gigantic, it's taking over the whole boat in its center frame, I couldn't tell what the fuck I was looking at because not only was the alien blue, the sky behind him was blue, the ship was covered in ice and blue, and the entire thing had a blue tint on it, so it all just melded together into one, like, mess.
Yeah, and there's like a random like betrayal in the story that's not the corporate guy. It's like there's this like
Russian
spy that wants
all right.
I don't know. I don't even know what they want. And like one of the biggest problems in the movie is 2/3 of the way through this movie, you realize you don't know what the monster wants.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem because you're trying to figure out why this is happening.
And they over-explain everything else.
Yeah, everything else is over-explained except what the monster is doing.
The only thing I got from it is I think it was just eating people because it was hungry. And I'm like, okay, but it seems like it's more intelligent than that.
Yeah,
like,
it's
got more
like
of,
it's pulling shit off.
It's reminding me more of the Thing. Is it just survival? I don't know. It's
because like the Thing, like whether or not you recognize it, the Thing has a motive: get back to the ship, create a life support thing, and get off the goddamn planet.
Even the prequel understood that.
Yeah, it's trying to get off the planet. The thing is that no one knows what'll happen once it gets back up in the ship, so you better kill it because the Thing is all about paranoia. It's entirely possible that they had just left it alone, it would have left and never come back.
Absolutely.
But it wanted off the planet, you could tell.
And the fact that this like starts in the 80s and brings in Russian spies and stuff, it's obviously supposed to be about the same kind of paranoia, but you don't feel it at all.
No, not at all. And like in Leviathan, you don't know what the monster wants either, but it behaves like a mindless beast, so it's not a problem.
But you can't tell.
Oh, it's just killing people.
In this, it's not really a mindless beast because it shuts off the power at one point.
It shuts off the power, it disables the ship.
Yeah.
It does all kinds of things, and you find yourself going, wait, if it's doing all that, there's got to be a purpose to it.
It's way smarter than the alien and more along the lines of the Thing creature, and it doesn't have any...
And they never let you know what that is, but they tell you about every other stupid detail. Oh my god,
the other problem with this movie is that every single scene is exposition overload about shit that you're like, that would probably be creepy if you showed me it instead of telling me it.
Yeah.
If you showed me what the creature does to someone instead of telling me before it does it. Like, it's...
Yeah, and there are times when they jump to conclusions that you're like, wait, what just happened?
Oh yeah, it's really badly written.
Liquid nitrogen now works on it. Why are you acting like you knew this?
Yeah.
Like you didn't show us that. Like, I mean, it makes sense, but
it was found in ice, I guess. But
but shouldn't someone have figured it out?
Yeah.
Just been like, or they do a random thing and they're like, well, I guess that'll work.
Yeah.
Like something simple like that. And there were a lot of scenes where you're looking at like the guy who would normally be the main character, and you're like,
he's supposed to be the Kurt Russell, but no,
not even close. Not even close. I hate to like fucking rag on a guy for trying, but that was awful.
almost
that was like sci-fi channel levels of bad.
Well, this movie kind of felt like a really bad sci-fi movie, just with
Lance Henriksen, which there are already a couple.
There's a couple of those.
Yeah, my favorite being Sasquatch Mountain,
but with better effects.
Yeah, way better effects. The effects are great, but that's about all the movie has going for it.
Like, even if the monster was flesh colored instead of blue.
Yeah, if they had like lit it pink, but the whole background was blue, so
it would have stood out, and it would have been like this.
Or you use like spotlight, searchlights, or something. You know, like
even the lights it emits when it starts having these electric powers out of nowhere. Like,
they're blue.
They're blue.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, everything is blue on the screen, so everything blends together. Nothing
stands out,
you know. So I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at.
It's like they needed to From Beyond it, or like Dr. Pretorius it, you know.
Whereas, like for example, to use John Carpenter's The Thing as an example, that monster is a big mess of a monster that's different every time you see it, but you always know what you're looking at when you do.
Yeah, it gets pink and orange.
You see that nice shot in the center of like the chest, the stomach opening up, and he puts his hands in, or like the spider head crawling down and crawling away. You see all these things. You can see them. They're brightly lit, and when the monster.
Contrast shadows too.
Yeah. You can see it all. By the same token, every time you don't see the alien in full in Alien, it is just enough to creep you out. But in this, you're just like, what the fuck am I even looking at?
Yeah, because what they always emphasized in the Alien movies is the shiny bits.
Yeah.
Because the island, it's got that carapace.
Or like the awesome buildup of like the dripping. Dripping, you know, it's because you're on that spaceship in Alien, and they establish that things are just leaking all over, you know, like condensation, exhaust, what the fuck ever. So when you see it happening the first time in Alien, when the monster's above, you don't realize that's what it is.
Yeah.
Until you see the tail.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's this perfect buildup. There is no scene built like that or in any way in this movie. Every scene is so... Not even by the numbers. I don't even know what they were trying to do with most of the way
they were just trying to film it. And it feels like they were just trying to film it.
Yeah, which is weird.
There was no artistry to it whatsoever.
Because they choose the John Carpenter aspect ratio, but do no cinematic shots aside from like the end shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of so imagine you got like the big long, you know, that aspect ratio going on. I'll put black bars so you can see it. Now imagine all we're seeing is reverse shot for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, why use
oddly framed too.
Yeah, really weirdly framed.
Yeah.
You're like, why would you use that aspect ratio but then just go to reverse shot? That makes no sense. It's pointless.
Yeah.
You know, why not just shoot it in 16:9, you know, at that point?
It was so, oh jeez.
Yeah.
It was so disappointing because I really wanted to like this movie. I was so supportive of it.
Yeah, I was really up for it. I really, really wanted to see it.
But what they needed to get is like, they had the effects. All they needed to do was get a real director and a real writer involved to turn it into something.
Yeah.
And they tried to do it themselves and they failed. They completed the movie. It is a movie. You can watch it from start to finish. It's on Netflix right now if you want to see it, if you dare. I don't recommend it.
If you want to see some really cool... If you're an artist and you want to see what they do with the monster because you're like, oh, I could probably take some inspiration from that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The shots where you can see the monster looks really good. Mm-hmm. Really good. They do some really cool things with it, but that's pretty much the entire worth of the movie. Mm-hmm. And it's really too bad because the things that they do bad even kind of mitigate that.
Yeah.
And you're like, God damn it! Why did you do it this way?
There's a point where plot-wise, I just checked out and started looking up information on the movie because I just didn't care about what was happening on screen anymore. Yeah,
because it was one of those talky bits, and it was just like it was just like in those. Oh God, I hate these scenes. They're basically the equivalent of like the 50s monster B movie scenes where the scientists are talking, but everyone's talking like this, and they're very excited, and they're very insistent, and they're trying to be emotional as they're explaining the thing. And he's like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
God. Like, fucking... The movie is so bad, Lance Henriksen has a crying scene over a dead wife. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
that subplot was awful.
Oh, it was so dumb.
That whole dying wife thing, because I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, like, how would she not have figured that out at some point?
Yeah. Her mom's been dead for 3 months and she doesn't know. Wow. How?
What?
How? I know you guys are stuck up in Alaska, but what?
I don't know. Whatever. Like, my problem is that even if that is explained in the movie, I checked out so much, I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
That goes for most of the plot points in this. That just the acting is so bad, so bland, so forced. I couldn't get invested in anyone, and every time Lance Henriksen was on screen, it's like, oh, hey, look, a real actor, but the dialogue still sucks. That's when you know that the script is a problem too. When Lance is on screen and he's selling the shit out of a line, but you can still tell how awful the line is.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like most of the other rest of the cast had the habit of sucking the charisma out of Henriksen sometimes.
Oh my god, yeah. He was in every time he was in a scene opposite someone, you were just like,
yeah.
Oh my god, stop it! You're making Lance look bad. You know, like stop it.
Oh man, like
fucking like the closest thing to Russian chick would have been okay in some kind of role.
You know what I wish this movie did?
The fucking really tall big guy. He could have been cool. I don't know. Like
a better actor, that character could have been cool.
Yeah.
But like, I kind of wish this movie went more campy.
Yes.
If it was less serious and more campy, I could have forgiven a whole lot.
Yeah. If it had just been like, okay, that was unexpected.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, or they had been like joking a bit, like even if it had been real stupid, like, hey, this is like that movie, What the Thing? And actually, I was thinking of Leviathan.
Yeah.
Like if it had actually like been a little stupid.
Yeah, but it's
like
trying to take
Deep
itself...
Rising. If it had been like Deep Rising.
Oh man, that's another movie that is way better than this that tries to do similar things.
Yeah. If it had been like Deep Rising, where they
I love Deep Rising. Yeah. That's
Deep
fun.
Rising's great, but that's a movie that goes from like comedic to serious on a dime, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
Oh my God,
it's so amazing. You're just sort of like, wow, this movie just really doesn't take itself seriously. They're like, yeah, it's a movie about a ship that gets attacked by a killer squid monster. Yeah.
Monsters are awesome in that.
Yeah, they are.
I love the ending of Deep Rising.
Oh my God.
When they end up on Monster Island.
Yeah. I'm like, I want that sequel. It'll never happen, but I want it.
No, even if they brought together a different cast and did it, I would totally watch it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, totally.
So now we've gone completely off the reservation and started talking about a movie that's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, well, what do you say? The movie blows.
It does.
You know,
and I feel bad because I'm pretty sure we forgot to put a spoiler warning, but I think we're saving you here. We are saving you. Unless he puts a spoiler warning at the beginning of this, in which case, fair enough. But if not, I apologize, but we're actually kind of doing you a favor here.
Yeah. You need to, unless you're interested in observing the effects and the effects alone.
Oh, if you're an effects artist, check it out.
Oh yeah. If you're an effects artist,
because if nothing else, not only will you see how someone can ruin really good effects with poor lighting and staging, like. Like you can see how really good effects can go wrong, no matter how detailed and how high quality they are, just by simply shooting it wrong.
Yeah, this movie kind of goes to prove that like storytelling is a skill and a talent also.
Yeah, which is something this entire movie lacked completely.
Yeah, utterly.
It didn't even have like sci-fi movie levels of storytelling at times. Like
oh god, like how to put it, as bad as Bats is.
Oh man, Bats.
I at least knew what was going on, why I should care, who was dying, and it was kind of funny, although I don't think that was intentional.
No.
This wasn't so bad it was funny. Harbinger Down is not so bad it's good.
No, it's not Sharknado.
No, it's not Sharknado at all.
But then again, Sharknado kind of knew it was bad, but like...
Well, they knew what they had as soon as they like were really putting it together. They're like, what the fuck are we doing? Okay, just go stupider. He hacks one open. He does a fucking C-section with a chainsaw on a shark. Why not? Now we're fighting sharks in the White House. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, like I really feel that should have been the tagline for the third one, which was what they actually said. I forget what they said, but I really feel like the tagline should have been "Why not?" or "This time the shark jumps you."
Oh man, that would be great. Yeah, even if this movie had a tone similar to like Big Ass Spider or something, it would.
If it had been like Big Ass Spider, that'd been great. But no, like they do all these. Probably my favorite effect is one of the things about the monster is that it can go from a solid form to a liquid form, and they do an improvement on the screaming blood scene from The Thing, which is like this huge, like blobby, jello-y protoplasm, like bouncing around and sticking to things and then leaping back off.
Yeah.
And you can tell those are practical effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that looked amazing.
Absolutely. But there's also some effects, like that one scene with the guy with the back, and it's flirting, like his back like expands into these little tubes, and they're just spraying blood everywhere. Like that scene would have the problem with that scene is that effect was amazing. The problem is that scene is so unintentionally hilarious. You just kind of wish the whole movie went like that.
Yes.
Just went full camp like that.
Yeah.
Like just blood spray everywhere. Like,
I'm okay.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious. But as a result,
I don't think he's okay.
But you quickly realize after that scene was unintentionally that way. Like no other scene has that level of funness to it.
No,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like, yeah, you're right. The whole movie should have been like that. It should have. And
that was also one of the things where you can clearly see the effect, and it's awesome.
Yes, yeah. One of the few times where you can see it, and you're like, oh man, that looks great. It looks a little stupid, but like. It looks good.
Yeah, and that was the moment where I'm like, man, if they could just went camp, this movie would improve so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, at that point, like, you could even have still had, like, the whole thing. Like, they should have fucking, like, Harbinger, Deep Rising or Jason X'd it.
Oh, man, that would have been great.
That would have been fine. I'd have been so good with that. It's just been like, yeah, Harbinger Down, Oh, man. Made it like C-Lab 2021 or something,
Or like Harbinger Drown.
Harbinger.
Because I was drowning on my own boredom.
Oh, God. Oh, and of course it's a movie that ends by giving you the title.
Oh, yeah,
We've got Harbinger Down, the Harbinger's Down. You're like, no, movie, it's too late.
It's too
late. You can't.
No. So much potential, so much excitement, so much disappointment.
So yeah,
and I know, and you guys know us. You don't see us like this very often.
No. Cat peed on my bed, and instead of watching American Ultra,
which I really like.
Yeah, I had to go to laundromat and do all the bedding laundry, and then clean the mattress. Unexpectedly, because me and the cat are in a little argument right now because he wanted to.
Daddy's angry,
and I told him he couldn't, and I was like, "Well, he's a cat; he'll deal." And he's like, "Well, he's a human. I'll pee on his bed.
That'll piss him off.
That'll make me angry." And it did. It got me to throw my house for the night. To be like, "Fine, you want out? Get out." Fucking. I'll let him back in the morning. Not that he'll try to come back in until morning.
Oh yeah,
because that's what he does.
In the morning, he's gonna be meowing at the door,
and I'm gonna look at him, and then I'm gonna be like, "Okay, fine, God damn it." I don't know why he
didn't actually throw him out. He just told him to get out, and he got out.
He wanted out of the door, and so I opened it and told him to get out, and he left.
I don't want you guys to think that he just tossed the cat.
Meow! God damn it! Like I feel bad because this is the first cat I've had that's actually had like
he's a pissy teenager, literally.
He is like he has a lot of very strange behavioral problems. Mainly, basically, when he's angry at us, he pees on something, which is not unusual for a cat. But I've been fairly lucky up to this point that most of the cats I've had do not have that type of behavior unless they've gotten sick and now they got bladder problems, and at that point you're like, well, I can't be mad at the animal. He's just old or he's got an infection.
Oh no. Gomez is just a bastard.
Yeah, he's just being an asshole. My cat is an asshole.
Like father, like son.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. All right, I probably deserve that. Yeah, all right. Well, you take after your old man. God damn it.
He pees on the bed too.
Oh. So what I'm saying is,
this movie pees the bed.
No, I was gonna say that. What I was gonna say was this: the cat pissing on my bed and ruining my evening. Turns out wasn't the biggest disappointment of the day. Biggest disappointment of the day was Harbinger Down.
Is it sad how true that is?
Yes, it is entirely true. That's 100% honest. God damn it. fuck. Thumbs Harbinger down.
Feel me like a Hellcat.